We're going to put a wrap on things today, wrapping up our week and also wrapping up the topic of asking questions. So we're going to get right into it. There's a lot to cover here, and we're going to jump into the different aspects or different parts of the sale process. Like we talked about before, there's the interviewer discovery section, there's the presentation, and then there is the overcoming of issues, solving problems section. So we're going to just separate it out in that fashion. So let's first address the interview or the discovery kinds of questions. Now, these are needing to be done in a conversational, flowing manner, like we talked about with that fourth C tied to the clarity of thought and clarity of speech. We want to use open-ended but direct questions, as well as close-ended, getting a yes or no answer, to uncover areas of needs, to focus and confirm understanding when needed. We also must enter a meeting with the proper knowledge to avoid asking questions that will turn off a prospect by demonstrating the opposite of a pro. You need to know your prospect, know your customer is the common theme out there. So again, we should do our homework before we get involved with someone and start asking questions that are going to make us seem kind of foolish. Now, we always want to avoid giving info about your product or your service, whatever it is you're selling at this stage, and we want to stick to what is called discovery. It's about them having nothing to do with us. Now, it's the same thing as if you're going to a doctor. You go to a doctor, you just want the remedy. But again, a doctor's going to avoid that at all costs. Why? Because they need to first get the diagnosis. They need to understand what is the problem so then they can make a prescription. And you cannot do that without the exam that's going to happen before the diagnosis and then the prescription is given. Now, the next step here is when we're talking about in the presentation. There's very few questions that are going to happen during a presentation, because again, we're expressing the features, the benefits of what it is that we're doing, and tying that directly to the needs of the customer. But we a lot of times like to incorporate what we call nail down questions. Questions that help to make sure they're with us and understand. So it's not coming across like a monologue, but it's engaging them in a conversational flow. So you want to incorporate those kinds of questions into our presentation stage. Now, the third section, that's where the meat of the sale is made. Overcoming objections, addressing concerns. Now, we use questions here to uncover the core issue, because you may be addressing something, but it's not the real issue. By asking questions, we're able to uncover that, and then therefore, we're able to address it properly. Now, just like a doctor, using analogies here, they search for the root cause. They don't just come in and you say, hey, my throat hurts, and they just give you something for a cough. They want to find out what's causing your throat to hurt. They're going to run tests. They're going to figure those things out, and then they're going to be able to solve the problem better. So again, no different here. We want to uncover what the core issue is. Now, after discovering the core issue, we use questions to move along that paved road, move the prospect along that paved road, like we talked about, towards a clear understanding of how you, your product, your service meets their needs or solves their problems. Now, it's best done when you're in a general to a narrow format. When you're asking questions, you don't want to ask too personal or deep questions. You have to start somewhere. So I always teach people we should start more general, work our way narrow, pinpointing things, leading them down that paved road. Now, again, this is something that takes practice. It's not something that happens just by accident, or you get on a call and it's just going to be magic or miracles. It takes a lot of practice. It playing out scenarios and understanding the kinds of questions, so the potential answers that can come back before we ever use them, and knowing what that paved road looks like before we ever even step foot on it. So again, let's put the practice in. If anything you learn from me, it's you've got to learn, but you've also got to practice, and then you have to apply. So again, review, it is the thing to do. I encourage you to continue to review, but continue to put these into practice, and then you can put them into reality, and then have it working for you at a much higher level than if you didn't. We'll end things off for this week with a quote from Fran Peavy, who says, questions can be like a lever you use to try to open the stuck lid on a can of paint. Again, many times a prospect feels like they're a stuck lid, and we need to pry it open. Questions are that tool. So use the tools we have available to us. Have a great day, a successful day. Let's close out our week in a great fashion, and I'll look forward to seeing you on Monday in the AM.